Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm going to get in there and get you, Jim. I don't need, my phone's already blowing up and I can't figure out how to turn off this birthday thing on Facebook. Anyways, thank you very much for all my friends and family out there. It is my birthday, but we've got a Hardcore Mortgage Show to do, and we are brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. And there's Harry Glanz, my boss.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Happy birthday, Harvey. Happy birthday, my man.
Whatever. All right. 54 strong, and I appreciate everyone calling in. And to anyone else out there enjoying this weekend, I hope it's a great one. It looks like the skies are clearing up, and the sun is going to come out for a great weekend. And we bring on Stephanie Sacco, who's always lots of sunshine. There she is on our Zoom broadcast and live on 97.1 The Ticket. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning. Good morning, right. And happy birthday.
Oh, thank you so much. Michigan Power Brokers, of course, and you are a power broker. We're going to talk all about. She won't give away all her secrets on the air of how she gets your house sold quickly for top dollar, how she really works with you on buying that house and getting that needs list really checked off. But she said she'll share a couple of those secrets with us for sure. Right, Steph?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, hey, the home buying season is continuously kicking off here. We called it our second, maybe our second half of the summer season, Harry, as we're into this really unbelievable. Rates are just still at all-time lows. And here we are here at the end of really getting the kids back to school. We're going to call it the second season of home buying season.
Yeah, I can tell you that, Harvey. The market's really strong. Stephanie and I were talking about it prior to the show. And I'm going to tell you one of Stephanie's secrets. It's probably not a secret to everybody that she knows and why she's so successful. She's such a nice person that it's got to be really easy to do business with her. And if you're nice and you're doing business, that just means you're going to do more business and everybody will feed off of her energy and her positivity. And like you said, Harvey, her sunshine. But the market is right now is the busiest that we've seen it now. This is not going into the 9th year of a very strong market. Real estate is booming right now. Stephanie's going to share what her thoughts are. She and I have a similar philosophy on where the market is headed. And Stephanie, I'm going to let you tell everybody where you think the market is headed right now.
Well, for me, whether you're a first-time buyer, whether you're downsizing, whether you're moving up because you need more space, the market's not stopping. It's not stopping because we now have different needs, and our home is not really doing what we want it to do or what we ever thought it was going to do. We have parents that are trying to figure out how to homeschool. We have dual parents working from home. We now need rooms for nannies. There are so many needs that we didn't have before, and people are staying home more and more. So they want that comfort. And a lot of people just lived in their house and ran around and did whatever all the time, never even thought twice about it. Now people are critically thinking about what they need out of their homes.
Steps, thank goodness we have some step-up buyers for sure, because there's been a lack of inventory. So our first-time home buyers really have had that struggle. Here he talks about this great market over the last 9 years, but definitely in the last handful of years, those first-time home buyers are battling against investors and maybe people just settling down, and they were happy with what they had. And they didn't want a big house payment, but now they're home more. They're not traveling as much and definitely not going to the office as much.
No, they're not. And what's interesting is first-time home buyers are really, let's narrow them down into that younger generation. They're having roommates. They're moving in with, their partners. So they've got that dual income paying. What's interesting is they want their own space, and they want it to be first-time buyers are very particular. And getting them to see the vision of what a starter home really is, it's an interesting struggle.
Yes, Harvey, Stephanie brings up a great point here. And what we're seeing now is all we're hearing about, we hear in the news and we watch things and we hear about how people are tired of being at home. It's kind of contrary to that. People aren't tired of being, there are some people that are not tired of being at home. They like being around their family. They want to go ahead and make that new home that Stephanie's going to find them into a place that they can hang out more. And it's more of a lifestyle. Harvey, that's where your built-in pool comes in all the time. It's a lifestyle situation now more than ever before.
Yeah, whether your family's growing and you've just completely outsized the place, but all these new changes here, of course, with COVID and what it brought out in 2020 is looking for those outdoor backyard spaces, pools, recreational things. And then we get into these offices, and now how are we going to homeschool the kids? And I think even though we want to get the kids back to school, I think this is going to be really a space that people are looking for. Here in Michigan, we're fortunate to have the basements, which can be converted into some square footage, but also we're seeing the construction boom is going on. We're going to talk all about that this morning at 248-539-9797, because a lot of you, Harry, a lot of the folks, and Stephanie, some of them are going to consider maybe some home renovation projects. The construction field is booming. And Stephanie, as you know, the families that are settling down, the ones you got mortgages for and purchases for in the last 4 or 5 years, they might add on to their house. They're thinking about some big construction projects, definitely using that equity in their house.
There's no doubt about that. Basements are beyond important to people. I'm not seeing as many additions going on nowadays. I honestly think that unless you've got an amazing piece of property, you're choosing to move. But I'll tell you, there's many calls I get weekly where people are like, tell me what to do. Like, I don't want to waste my money and over improve my home. So a lot of being a realtor is understanding your client's need. It doesn't mean you have to move. Like, don't call me and think that I'm going to make you move, because what I'm going to do is tell you what's best for you. If that means finishing your basement, let's do it. If that means adding that pool, let's do it. So it isn't always about the sale. It's more about helping that relationship and helping that client in whatever way is best for them.
We've been fortunate enough to have a couple buyers that we're working with just this week even, and they're different buyers. One was a first-time home buyer. Of course, we're just getting moved in and settling in with that purchase agreement and the home inspections. And the other family is a step-up buyer. And like you said, 2 incomes at home, really home ownership is right around the corner for you. If you've got good credit, if you've saved some money, and again, if you haven't saved a whole lot of money, there's still opportunities with Michigan loans here in the state of Michigan. And more importantly, all the minimum down programs. FHA 3.5%, conventional loans at 3% down. So if you want to become a home buyer, it's definitely an opportunity out there. Also, Steph, talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing in the inventory. We'll talk about Southeast Michigan. Are you seeing anything picking up here? Are there any more phone calls coming in? And what do you think it's going to transpire as we get into the colder months?
The colder months are going to be, it's going to be consistent, because people are looking for housing. They're looking to get out of their parents' house, and they're looking for more space, because now they've got 6 people at home, or 3 or 4 people at home all day long. The people are losing their minds. They like, even in my house, I have 4 adult people working. 4. Like, I'm in someone else's workspace because my workspace is upstairs and it's too loud. So I know that my needs have changed. Like, we're converting our garage. We converted our basement. We're going all the way outside the door to do the conversion. So the only difference between right now looking at homes, because, as you said, you had a pool. Pool houses used to be a pain in the butt to sell. You had to have a very, very specific buyer. However, now it's like a pool. I never have to leave. I can't go to Florida. I can't go on vacation. So let's get a house with a pool. Let's entertain at home. But now that we're shifting into fall, now we're thinking, I want a dining room. I want a cozy fireplace. I really want to, where are we going to snuggle? So it's really more about now the inside of the home. Whereas before, the inside, you didn't need to paint. You didn't need to do a whole lot of stuff. The outside just had to look like a resort. But now that we're going to continue on this trend of selling, we're still not going to have a ton of inventory, but it's going to keep going.
Harry, jumping in?
Well, I think she's right. I think she's absolutely right. We saw a stall from March, April, and May. Everything picked up in May. Now it's continuing through the summer. I think she's absolutely right, Harvey. People aren't concerned about getting their kids into a school district, because right in the second, school districts are online. So the needs have changed greatly, and I think that's going to continue. And people have reassessed their needs as well. They've reassessed their priorities, and they're reassessing their complete way of life right now, because people's bubbles have had to be very small. So if you've got a small bubble and the majority of your time is spent at home, you're going to go ahead and either look for a home that you could spend more time in, or go ahead and improve your existing home to where you're going to have those amenities that you're looking for. She's absolutely right.
248-539-9797. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. All week long, you can reach us at the office at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We take your calls all Saturday morning here, 248-539-9797. We brought on Stephanie Sacco, Michigan Power Brokers. If you're thinking about buying a house or selling your home, definitely give us a call here. Stephanie's one of the best out there. And again, we talk about this really hands-on approach, and every family is different. But boy, things really change quickly for so many families. As some families were thinking about becoming empty nesters, all of a sudden they were, when they found out the kids cannot go away to college and they're going to be homeschooled. So we'll share more with you. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back.
Hi, Harry Glanz and Dan Burke from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Welcome back to the show, 9/16. It's August 29, 2020, and you've got it on the Harvey Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We are brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289. Hey, you can always reach us here live in the studio, 248-539-9797. I'm Harvey Freed. Harry Glanz is on the Zoom broadcast. Stephanie Sacco with Michigan Power Brokers, great real estate agent. We are talking about a lot of great stuff here, and we're going to talk about really getting approved for a mortgage. And also in this segment, we'll talk about home inspections and what's going on out there. But definitely, families are buying these homes. And, we have a buyer right now. We don't want no names, of course. But sure enough, she had a townhouse that had a situation with flooding in the basement. And then, boom, we get nailed with all this water here in Southeast Michigan. And again, that hurricane hit definitely a lot of states here across the United States. So anyone listening, hopefully you're all safe. And again, but how much damage was done locally here? They have those problems. So, yeah, we talk about inspections. Definitely, you got to get them done.
The biggest issue at an inspection, the biggest thing that people are looking for on the seller's disclosure is, was there water in the basement? Was there ever water in the basement? People don't know how important that is, to be honest. Listen, you have a flood and there's water in the basement, just say to somebody, yes, and it was remediated and it was removed and we fixed the sump pump, or, we fixed the crack in the wall, or whatever the issue was. Just be honest, because everything is fixable in these homes.
Yeah, I like that. Hey, we got Becky Alley on the line calling in from always giving us a touch of the downriver here in Michigan. Good morning, Becky Alley.
Good morning, everybody.
What's going on, Beck? Give us your quick little weekend review. We won't keep you all day here.
It's all good. It is freaking a human game, and let's talk about that. Going and outside. Everything's fine. Obviously, you guys have all been touching on a great point. What Stephanie was saying just now is just be honest. There's something going on with your house. It's going to come out in the wash. It's almost like someone trying to hide the fact that they were working, they didn't have an employment, there's a 6-month job gap. All of that stuff is always going to come out in the wash. So please be honest, put it out there so we can make sure we have some.
Yeah, I like that. I said really get approved on a mortgage. Don't just make that phone call. Send your documentation and have the lender run the credit. You run into that a lot, Steph, where people are just, making offers and they haven't even spoke to a lender yet. And it puts a lot of pressure on you guys as real estate agents. You're sometimes forced to give some real estate or / mortgage information also.
It's a constant struggle because people want to, put the cart before the horse. They want to go look at houses and get all excited and put an offer in, but you cannot put an offer in without a pre-approval. So the first thing I do is give them your number. We got to get you to Harvey. And by the way, when you're calling him, get out those W-2s, get out those paycheck stubs. If you're self-employed, let's get out all these things. Let's get the taxes. Be honest about your credit. Don't blow smoke up anybody's butt, because guess what? It is gonna come out, like Becky said. Just be honest, and then let's search for the house that you can afford in your comfortable price range. Listen, you could afford $1 million house. Doesn't mean you want to. So it's really hard to take people and clients looking when you're not really sure where they should be.
Hey,
yeah,
Becky.
I think that's important. I think disclosure is very important. I think what everybody's saying, Becky, for sure, on the lender side, as a lender, we're going to figure out everything. It's better to find out at the beginning of a transaction or before a transaction starts than at the middle or at the end. Listen, we have a saying, we're going to find out because we're bringing the money. Everybody asks us, why do we do such extensive verifications, validations, and checks? Well, that's because we're bringing the majority of the money. If you're buying a $200,000 house, and let's just say you're putting 20% down, we're bringing 160 out of the $200,000, and you get to live in the house. So of course we're going to go ahead and we're going to check everything out. It's just part of it. But I would tell you this, as far as basements go, Harvey, I'm a big basement guy. I love basements because I didn't have a finished basement growing up. We just didn't. So your basement is going to have water in it. My basement right now, because of all the rain, is a little damp. I've got to get it fixed. Everybody has water in their basement. Don't lie about it. Don't hide about it. It's going to happen.
If here, you're not selling the house anytime soon, but he will be putting on the seller's disclosure in the future. And then they're burying in the back, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, here's how I feel about that. If you have a house up for sale and you disclose whatever, flaws your house has, you know what? It's up to a buyer to say, I don't want to buy your house. Okay, that's what it is. Disclose everything, and then it'll all come out. Don't worry about it. Don't hide anything.
Yeah, get it out there. We want happy buyers and sellers out there so you can move on with your life. So there's a lot of competition out there with these houses. So sometimes, again, we always urge families just to do your due diligence on these homes and make sure you're dotting I's, crossing T's. Things can be fixed, but you got to have sort of going into that, know what things are going to cost you also. But that leads, Stephanie, this lack of inventory out there sometimes leaves that house on the corner that got overlooked all summer long in 2020. And maybe that house is a great house, a big ranch, but it's on a main road, but it's got a huge backyard. All of a sudden, homes that used to have some functional obsolescence may really be some great buys out there.
No, there's no doubt about that. And that's a huge thing for people that maybe do live on that main road that don't have a ton of parking. But they're ranches, and maybe they can lend themselves to the older generation who want that main floor laundry room. They want everything on the main floor. There are so many main road properties going, and I'll tell you what, main road properties are amazing. Very few people sit and have a big barbecue in their front yard anyways. So you have this huge oasis in the backyard. It could be 300 feet deep, 110 feet wide. You've got a shed, a fire pit, you've got a pool. There's a million things that happen in these main road properties. And unfortunately, the price point is always so much lower than something that's right behind it that has the same traffic noise. It's unbelievable. So those people are having a lot more opportunities right now as well.
Yeah, you better have a great real estate agent that can point out all these great things about some of the houses that are out there in the marketplace. I mean, the highest amount of home sales since 2005. Can it last? It should last. It's been 3 consecutive months. It's definitely been lasting, where we've had purchase agreements rising at 5.9% from the previous month. Home sellers are seeking contracts in record times. No doubt about that. But again, are they going to be able to find their next house because of the scarce inventory out there? So yeah, it's easy to sell, but you might want to step back one or 2 feet and decide, or 6 feet for sure, and decide what's your next move. What house are you going to be able to find? So again, having a professional real estate agent who can put some great contingencies on your purchase agreement, that's really important. Hey, Becky, come back to you a little bit, Beck. What do you got going on out there? Of course, we got the all-time low interest rates. It's given families a lot of opportunity for some buying power. Are you seeing a lot of families stepping it up down there? Wow. All right, buyers come in all different ways. They have different reasons why they'd be buying, and we're going to talk about it when we come back in the next break. Of course, there's sometimes families that are just outgrown their house, or whatever the situation. Divorce does creep in there, separation, got to move closer to work. Lots of different reasons why you might be looking at some home ownership. And definitely, our phones have been lighting up with a lot of families talking about getting approved and moving north to the rural areas of northern Macomb and northern Oakland County. So keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. When we come back, tons more information. 248-539-9797. We'll be back.
Hi, Harry Glanz and Danberg from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
the breaks here. You're listening to Live 97.1 The Ticket. It is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Again, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. We're all over the country. We do loans everywhere at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. If you want to buy that second home in Florida, Arizona, how about Colorado, or maybe even, I don't know, anywhere. How about Washington, D.C.? That's a fun place too. Just give us a call, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We'll make it a lot of fun for you. We were talking about some really cool stuff. So let's go
Don't
for
worry
it.
about it. Don't worry about it.
Becky Haley, you threw it out there with Stephanie.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me loud and clear? There you go.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, so what we were talking about in the break was the importance of that collective team that, we want to try to get behind our buyers, right? So, anyone can write on a piece of paper that someone's pre-approved for $1 million. But at the end of the day, if I haven't done my due diligence and I haven't done the research that's needed to make sure that that buyer truly is approved for $1 million, it's not worth the piece of paper that it's written on. So, when Stephanie is kicking someone to Harvey, she knows that he's going to be very thorough with that client. He's going to explain all those details, because at the end of the day, we do this for a living. You do not. And our job is to make sure that it's an emotional, people get emotional over real estate. People get frustrated because they don't understand if we start saying EMD, what does that mean? What is concessions, right? So we're here to undoctor talk the mortgage process. And, when we are, we're dealing with professionals like Stephanie, the reason for that is because we know that we can trust her. She's a professional and she's going to keep that calm throughout the whole entire transaction.
Steph?
You know what's interesting about everything you just said is I present myself as a team of professionals. You're not just getting me, you're getting my team, and it always begins with the lender. And the most interesting part about my offer getting accepted yesterday, the first thing he said when he got on the phone with me was, hey, I gave your lender Harvey a call, and tell me a little bit about your buyers. Tell me about Harvey. What do you think? How's this transaction going to go? You can't always work with a client who went online and got some online pre-approval or some discount pre-approval. It's not of benefit. So if there are any buyers listening, it's not to your benefit ever to just go online and punch in the numbers that you think are going to be valid and relevant in your purchase, because we think we know, oh, hey, I make this much money, but guess what? You're self-employed. And then now those deductions are pulling away $100,000 worth of income you thought you were going to be able to use.
That's
and
a
while
great
I'm
point.
not a mortgage broker, what I do know is that I'm not the professional and you're not the professional. So get yourself to an agent who can refer you to the best professional they work with. So for me to refer my clients to Harvey means I know that he's going to make sure that you can afford your home. And when you do, like Becky said, put that EMD down, that earnest money deposit, where you're promising to buy someone's house once you get past the inspection stage of your due diligence, we collectively, professionally, we don't want you to lose that. And if you get a lender who gives you pre-approval over the phone, or who doesn't pull your credit, right? Who just gives you that, oh yeah, sure, you can afford that $500,000 house. Guess what? When you get to closing, all of a sudden, you could lose that EMD because you won't close.
Hey, Steph, I love all the attention this morning. Thank you. But again, no matter whether you're working with us at Capital Mortgage Funding or a lender you've worked with in the past, salute to you. Definitely keep those open lines of communication. But Steph, what I really like is, sure enough, I was able to call that listing agent last night, got his email, and he enjoyed the phone call from me. I don't know whether it's 8:30 or 9:30 at night, but it gives him the added confidence. He's able to communicate that with his sellers. And now as you mentioned, guys, it's all about a cohesive team. So that's what makes it fun for everyone. But Steph, let's talk about also these great real estate agents like yourself and the great agents out there who know the communities they're living in, and they know how to dot their I's and cross their T's. So many times you're buying a house and you hear something else is added with the house. Maybe it be lake access, maybe a park down the street. And then again, the homeowners association rules, you got to sometimes dig a little bit deeper, because you might not be able to put that 35-foot camper in your driveway. So that does pop up.
No doubt at all. So the first thing that you should always do as a buyer, if your agent isn't suggesting it, is let's get those bylaws. You're even interested in this house and we just went to see it, and you know that the inside and the outside works for you. Now let's see if the rules and regulations of the neighborhood work for you. And let's see, how much is this going to cost you? So while it might on the MLS or your platform of Zillow or Realtor.com, it might say lake access, all sports lake. Sometimes that has an additional price if you want to dock your boat there, if you want to use the clubhouse facilities. it isn't always just a straightforward HOA. And a lot of times on the platforms that clients are looking on, that HOA gets twisted and turned into a yearly or a monthly. And you really have to talk to your agent and make sure they do their due diligence and get you there's a special assessment on a condo I'm about to list. It's a $10,000 road assessment.
Wow.
Now, those people are not expecting it. Buyers are not going to expect that extra almost $100 a month or more in HOA. It could make or break, depending on how I list this condo, the sale.
Well, it's got to be disclosed. Go ahead, Beck.
Yeah, and well, to piggyback on that, like what Stephanie's saying is like when you're buying a house and you're getting pre-qualified, and let's just say you find this beautiful home in a subdivision. Well, you're pre-qualified for X amount of dollars. Well, then you find this home with Stephanie, and then come to find out there's an additional $250 association fees that are associated with this property because maybe there's certain amenities that come along with this property, right? Well, we need to know what they are. Do you have access to a pool? Is there a private road agreement because someone's going to be coming and plowing the streets and things like that? And when a special assessment comes up, that's not something that the lender would know right offhand. I mean, so like when it pops up at the 11th hour, that's a problem because it's going to affect your financing a little bit. So what she's saying is if you have a $10,000 assessment and all of a sudden we're now taking that $250 up to $325 because we had to add $83 or whatever that math is, right? Because I can't do it in my head. Sorry, people. But anyway, when it's going to affect it could affect what you qualify for because people are trying to qualify real thin sometimes. And we're trying to fit everything put perfectly together. So, when you have an agent like that, that's going to be like, hey, just so you know, this is a beautiful home, but it is going to cost you another $83 a month on your payment just because there's a special assessment and the sellers aren't going to pay for this. It's now your responsibility. You got to make sure you're okay with that. And that's where the point of having these professionals around you, because you don't know it, we wouldn't know it. And that's where something that we rely on, the agent to bring this to our attention as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we rely on real estate agents a great deal to let us know what is going on with the property because everybody out there are really two closings that go on when you buy a house. There is a closing between us, the lender, and you, the borrower, for the money. Then we turn around to the other side of the table and then we close you with the seller for the property. So we have to know everything that's going on with the property, private road maintenance agreements. Is it recorded? Do you have an agreement with just each individual neighbor to split it? There's a lot of complexities in there, and that's why we rely upon the realtor. We appreciate you, Stephanie.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys just as much. Again, team effort.
Hey, you guys, 248-539-9797. We are going to have open lines till 10 o'clock. Of course, we got Pat Caputo and sports all day long. And a ton of Tiger baseball coming up with Dan and Jim here this afternoon. So keep here on 97.1 The Ticket. And again, Pat Caputo coming up with sports and social commentary as our ticket text lights up with some good stuff and some bad stuff. Definitely some people with opinions out there and how somehow mortgages and real estate affect the world. Well, look, you can pick any place you want to live. And if you need that mortgage, be sure to call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. There are no concrete rules when it comes to these ratios, Becky Alley and Harry Glanz. We're in the mortgage rule. But people have to be comfortable with their house payment. And one of the things we so often talk about is where are you comfortable with? And we've seen some families, again, with these low interest rates really stretching it. And why not? Like we said, maybe this is a great opportunity to get that dream house. Maybe by buying a house that's a little bit out of your price range, maybe when you sell it in the future, you'll have a little bit more equity. You just don't know exactly how the marketplace is going to shift. And we see a lack of new construction out there. And again, the new construction is going for top dollar. I see a whole bunch of new subs in my area in Oakland County, Macomb, Livingston. It's really working its way out towards Lansing on the, we call it the 696 corridor now. Also, we talk about the Woodward corridor for existing homes is how does that marketplace is. Man, there's some new construction all over town. But hey, the cost of it, as you've seen, Stephanie, you've been to some of these new construction homes, the cost of labor went up over the last few years and the cost of lumber is through the roof.
It is. It's not only is the cost going up, but they don't have enough trade people working. They don't have enough manpower to get these homes done in the amount of time. So I'm finding tons of clients that really want to build new, but they can't because of the time frame. They're really limited. A client right now, two perfect opportunities. She's like, I can't wait the 6 to 9 months, which we know will be delayed as well. So, and I had a stat about how 30% new construction went up since last year. It's phenomenal if we have the right timeline.
Yeah, you're going to sell your house quickly, but you're going to have to move in at mom and dad's or rent a place or rent an apartment. If you have a family, it could be a little bit more of a stretch. So maybe that family's going to hold on to their house a little bit longer. Just got to have that good feeling that you qualify for both properties. And again, you need to have professional real estate agents involved. It's all about timing in real estate and location. When we come back, we'll talk more about it. 248-539-9797.
Hi, Harry Glanz and Danberg from Capital Mortgage Funding. Over 30 years in the mortgage banking industry, hundreds of thousands of families served. Let us serve you. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
To the show. It is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We're in our 20th year here on the radio. We appreciate all the listeners and all our clients. Again, if you want to join the show, 248-539-9797. I got Becky Alley on the line from my office and Stephanie Sacco with Michigan Power Brokers. You know, you work all Southeast Michigan. I know Harry was struggling there. He had some power outage there, so he might be off the air for our last segment. But you guys were talking about some good stuff. You guys dive into what you were just going with. You know, we talk all about buyers and sellers all the time, but, you know, some of the nuances and what you guys were just talking about. Go with it.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of get on with Stephanie a little bit as far as like what I've seen is that first time home buyer has changed since I was a first time home buyer, right? So I was 24 when I bought my first house. It was supposed to be my 5-year house. The housing market completely imploded and like I bought it in 2006. The next year was like, forget about it. You know, so my 5-year home naturally just became my 12, 15-year home because I was like, it worked for me, you know, all that. But I'm noticing that when we're pre-approving these first time home buyers, like a lot of them are in a $250,000, $300,000 price point because they're buying homes later in life. They're, you know, they've hit college up. They're waiting till they have that career established. And I kind of want to see if that's truly what you're seeing as well, because it's like the faces are changing like every year, how it looks that first time home buyer.
No, I think you're exactly right. The price point's higher. The needs are more. We used to be able to buy a house for under $100,000, do some work to it, live in it, sell it, move. Those houses don't really exist anymore. The starter homes that used to exist are either immediately scooped up by a realtor who is now a flipper, right? That works with a builder. So the regular person who wants that first time home can't even get to it. You know, so if you have an agent who has a pre-approval on file, who knows what you want, who knows that you're handy, you're going to fix it up, or, you know, somebody in your family, you're going to hire it out. If they're on their portal and they're looking, they're going to find you that first time, that true first time home buyer. Otherwise, you're up in that higher price range. You're up at the 250, 300, and you're not getting a ton for that amount of money in these really super, I would say, centrally located areas. They're going for such a high price point when they really are a starter home.
Yeah, I did read that in August, like 54% of the accepted contracts in August were in bidding wars, right? There was multiple offers. I mean, so like you're mentioning, like there's first time home buyers, you're going up against those investors, you know, you're going up against, and everyone's really, whether you're going up an investor or not, I mean, everyone is in this, you know, like this competitive market because of the lack of inventory. So what are you seeing that like it's going to help someone set their offer apart a little bit?
Oh, I'll tell you, multi-bid is kind of my specialty. So when I have a first time buyer,
give us the tea.
I know. If I do that, then every realtor will beat me. So, you know, in general, bottom line is money. The one thing you can't really beat in real estate in a multi-bid situation is an above asking cash offer. Appraisal doesn't matter. Timeline is shorter. We usually have people that have already moved out or they know where they're going. So obviously, but then on the other hand, if you need some occupancy as a seller, if you need some time, if you need a little something, well, now the game has changed, you know? So there's a couple of things besides the money. There's occupancy you focus on. There's appraisal waivers or guarantees that we focus on. We basically need to give the seller anything that we can to make them feel comfortable selling their house, getting the most security out of that sale.
Hey, you guys want to definitely call Capital Mortgage Funding or give us a call here on the show at 248-539-9797. We'll get you set up with that strong approval letter so you can go out there and make some great offers. What a gorgeous day. It's just starting to shape up right now as the wind is blowing these clouds out of here. We're going to have about a 1 foot chop on all the big areas, Lake Erie and everything. So be careful out there. Going up to 79 degrees. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit sunnier. So get out there, enjoy. This has been an unbelievable summer. And, you know, I'm always pro Michigan. It was 20 years ago. I was saying on the radio, forget about Chicago. We got everything you need here in Michigan. And there's no doubt I'm really pro this area. You know, great golf courses, the education, our public schools are just phenomenal. Our roadways, we have museums and all sorts of great things to offer. And our roads are starting to improve also. But again, having a great real estate agent out there that can point out all these things is so important in today's marketplace. Hey, Stephanie, your office, again, virtually anywhere, but you guys primarily work in the 5 counties right around here. So if you're looking to buy a house, even in a rural development area, we've been talking, Becky Haley and I, a little bit about this, USDA loans, rural development loans. Hey, we don't mind taking you up there, $250,000, $300,000 homes for your family of 4. You can buy that zero down, Becky. Rural development loans for first-time families, zero down. We're finding a lot of these families need these loans. Why not move out to the sticks a little bit?
I mean, but even like rural, it doesn't mean that you're off in like no man's land and you can't see your nearest neighbor. I mean, it's just a matter of how the county, you know, zones it pretty much. So you can still have a neighbor and feel like you're living in a normal area, but you're going to have a little bit more space. So USDA, depending on the county, you either fit in the box or you don't. So that's why you got to call us. We can figure out if the property you're looking for, because not only do you have to qualify for it, but the property also has to qualify for whether it's justified as USDA. So what that means is you can have a 0% down payment. That doesn't mean zero cost. So you're still going to have your closing costs. You're still going to have prepaids for your taxes and insurance, but you're not going to have to come up with $3,000 on a $100,000 loan. Like you just saved yourself that because the property does qualify for that USDA.
Well, there's been no problem with families closing on purchases. Again, it was all bottled up there in March, April, and May due to COVID-19. But forget about all that. Home buying season is off and running, whether you're refinancing your house or definitely looking to purchase. The closings have been easy. You can go to right to the title company. They got the big plexiglass thing. Now, I've only gone to like 2 closings. I went to one early in on this. But generally speaking, they're keeping everyone separated. And our refinance closings, just to throw it out there, could not be easier. I've had families closing on they get to show off to the closer, the notary that comes to their home. The closings take on a refinance 20 or 35 minutes in your backyard, on your deck, on your porch. And yesterday it was raining. I think they set up an office in the garage, and sure enough, little social distancing, and you can sign your paperwork anywhere and take advantage of these unbelievable. But Becky Alley, not only does everyone have equity in their house, these are the lowest rates we've ever seen.
Yeah, the lowest rates I've ever seen in the history of ever. Even if you look at a chart, I mean, the rates have never been this low. So it does make sense to look at it. Now, I did say no to a couple of people. I mean, if you are in a 15-year loan and you're on the back 9 of this 15-year loan and you're at even at a 4, I think they had a 4.5 when I spoke to them yesterday. When I looked at it, because they owed so little, it didn't make sense. We're not afraid to say, hey, like, it doesn't make sense for you. Just pay X amount extra because you already have the majority going to your principal. You don't need to reset the clock. And even if they went to a 10-year, it still wasn't going to be justifying, the refinance. So 90% of the people out there, it is going to make sense to either, get rid of the PMI, shorten your term. But there are going to be that select few that you're already on that back half. Just ride it out. I'll tell you what you need to pay extra towards the principal if you need to do that. But 9 out of 10 times, like we're just here to help you. We're not here to count your money. We're not here to spend
Becky,
your money.
that's a great point. I've had clients call me up, and you have to do the math. Everybody wants to do more loans right now, but you got to go to the person that's going to sit down, do the math, and tell you if you're 5 years in on a 25-year fixed or a 30-year fixed, and you're going to pay $2,000 or $3,000 in cost plus roll your escrow in, it might take you 7 or 8 years to pay that back. It might not be worth it, everybody. Your rate might be really good right now, and my dog's barking in the back. Hi, baby. Anyways, you have to go ahead and you have to do the math. It has to make sense.
All right, do the math. And
I'm
get
going
your
to mute it out
documentation
now.
together.
Bye, everybody.
That's always key. All right, there you're out. All right, documentation is everything, but always do the math. Yeah, Becky, we've been running those amortization charts for families all the time. And boy, when you look to see how much money you can save if you can drop that term down, whether it be, again, going from a 30 to a 20.
Anyways, all right, I'm going to go there.
And
He's down now,
consolidation
too.
loans. I'm telling you,
I'm
folks,
just
get
gonna
your
pick it up
mortgage
at the
in
end.
because, Becky, they delayed the FHFA, Federal Housing Finance Administration. They delayed the 0.5-point basis hit till December 1st. Your clock is ticking. It takes about 60 days to close these refinances, sometimes a little bit less, but you got to get your file started right away to save that money.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up because so you heard us all up in arms over the refinance tax, what we called it, where Fannie Mae just came in like a thief in the night and just hit every lender with a 0.5 or 0.5 point hit to their pricing. So that basically equated to almost an 1/8 higher in your interest rate during that little bit of a window. So now that they've pulled it back, they've reneged it because they didn't think that it was ill-timed, right? It was everything against what the federal government was trying to do. It wasn't a good time. So they said, okay, we're going to give you now time to deal with it. So now they push it back to December, like Harvey was just saying. So now that's now equated to now rates naturally went back to an 1/8 lower. And guess what? If you were locked in that window, your lender should be dropping that rate by an 1/8 or more, or at least an 1/8. So if they're not, you need to call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. Let's see if we can help you out because it should be removed if you were in that window of getting your rate locked.
Hey, Stephanie, you got your final words if you want to say anything, but you're great. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All righty, Stephanie Sacco with Michigan Power Brokers. Always great to deal with. I've got a couple deals. I got to get to the office and make sure we get these deals closed for her. No doubt about that. But there's a lot of great people in real estate. She's one of them. Give us a call, Capital Mortgage Funding. We'll hook you up with all the great agents, including Stephanie Sacco, Michigan Power Brokers. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. I want to thank, of course, Harry Glanz and Becky Alley and all the listeners out there. We've got Pat Caputo coming up with sports. Keep it here